ಓಕೆ ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಶ್ರುತಿ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋರು ಯಾರು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಮ್ಮ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಒಂದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಟ್ಲಾಗಿ, ಚಿಕ್ಕೋಡಿ ಸೆಟ್ಲಾಗಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಣಿಂದರ್ ಕೌರ್ ಅಂತ, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅವರು ನ್ಯಾಕೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಶೀಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಬಿ ರಿವ್ಯೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ಸ್. ಇಫ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್ anyone does not understand anything, they can raise their hand and ask us. We will explain it. Hindi, English is comfortable. I think Kannada ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಇದು ಅವ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನೀವು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರು, ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಎನಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್, ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ or ask us. We will let you. Don't interfere while we are talking. Disturbance ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, 2 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಮುಗಿಯಲ್ಲ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ನೀವು ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾರು ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ. ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಫಿನಿಶ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಸ್ ಅರ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ so that your lunch is not delayed. I welcome Dr. Maninder Kaur for this meeting. She will, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Can
Yeah,
everybody?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ravi, and I thank HiTech team for facilitating, and I welcome all the ART staff from all the ART centers in Karnataka. I am Dr. Maninder, and I've joined as a national consultant with the CST division of NACO. So, like Dr. Ravi said, we'll try not to stand between you and your lunch. So, we will finish quickly. I will take a little time to show you a few slides on your performance, and any objections, any concerns, please raise them during this meeting or even later on. You can write an email to Dr. Ravi and Karnataka SACS, and they can compile and share it with NACO. And we assure you that we will try and address all your concerns. So there are going to be 2 parts to what I'm showing. Praveen, can you give me access to share screen? I want to share my screen. Praveen, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you give me access to share screen, which I need? Okay. So I will quickly start with the performance review of all the ART centers. Can everybody see my screen, Dr. Ravi?
Delivering lectures on
Yes, ma'am, you can see.
Yes, ma'am.
So I will take you quickly through the slides. First, I want to share what we shared with all the SACs during the PD review meetings. I want all the people in Karnataka to understand also how they are comparing, because I want this to be a motivational thing. I do not want to criticize anything. Everybody is doing a great job given the COVID scenario. I want to appreciate all the ART staff. We know that many of the ART centers were shifted. We continued services. The SACS has taken a leadership role. All the ARTs have done a good job. When we are looking at these indicators, we all know that work has to go on. People have to be provided the services. And in that light, we will be taking a look at all the indicators which I'm going to share. So the most important first thing, as we move towards the 90, and subsequently we will also move towards 95. Where are we losing people? Where are the people who we are not able to reach out with services? So the first thing is, whoever is diagnosed in the ICTC, are they being linked, at least being registered to our ART centers? And when we took a review of the zone-wise review, you can see that, Karnataka is somewhere near the national average. I will be sharing the slides. I'm taking you through quickly. Just look at the indicators which are more important. Secondly, we tried to see that once my PLHIV registered at my ART center, are we able to initiate them on ART? And all of us know that the test and treat policy says treat all, and this should be 100%. If somebody gets registered at my ART center, I should be able to start them on treatment. Again, you can see where, you know, Karnataka is doing well comparatively, but when we talk about achieving our targets, we don't compare ourselves, we just look at our own performance. And that is important for you to understand. Secondly, another indicator is, I have newly initiated a certain number of people in this financial year. How many of them are still alive on ART with me in my program? And here you see the numbers and the percentages are dipping, which is a great matter of concern, meaning that my newly initiated patients, the percentage still alive is not very good. And there is nearly, like, say 22 to 25% of people who were newly initiated, and when the year ends, they're not with me or with us on treatment. So we all need to start looking at where these people are going. Another thing we saw, that we lose some people. Okay, there are some people who will opt out or who, you know, other reasons, but there are some who are dying and some we are lost to follow up. And we looked at the percentages. We have done this for all the states in the country. And here they show you that on an average, India percentages also you can see in the slide. But you see, the concern is that there are 5.7% people who are dying. And this is just out of those who were registered in the current year. So I would like all ART centers to take a look at this also. Then from the IMS, and there might be contentions from the data managers and staff of ART, but this is broadly how we compare across the country. So 12-month retention, you see where we are. So we are all not reaching there. Kerala seems to have reached there somewhere, but they have to also move ahead with retaining more and more people. This indicator is extracted from the IMS. It's a cohort-based indicator. So it is very important that IMS is updated, because at national level, your ART center is being reviewed by what you are updating in your IMS. Again, try to look at adherence, as all of us know that only, you know, viral load suppression will only happen if we are able to retain them. The adherence is more than 95%. In this indicator, we looked at what is the proportion of patients who reported more than 95% adherence. As we all know, it's a reported indicator. We do pill count, but largely it's a reported indicator. And here we see, you know, that Karnataka has a long way to go here. As you can see, everyone, all of us, even at national level, we have a ground to cover in this indicator. Another very, very important indicator, and I think, you know, is about multi-month dispensation. And here we see that, you know, what gets counted is 3-month dispensation, not the 2 months dispensation, which many of the states are doing. So this is my important message. If your patient is fulfilling the criteria, eligibility criteria for MMD, please give them a multi-month dispensation for 3 months. This is a very common message we are trying to give across the country. Although here you can see that, you know, for TLE, you know, with 2 months is 22.7 and 3 months is only 19.5 or 20%. Anotherly, we would like to have your SACs and Dr. Ravi understand and have further discussions on this. I will just quickly show you the indicator today. Another thing which all of us know, that TB is, and PLHIVs, this is a large cause of morbidity and mortality in PLHIV is TB. And we have a free drug which can, you know, prevent the activation. And for all those who are 4S negative, we are giving IPT. And here you can see that although Karnataka is showing a fairly good level of initiation, but only 66% of those whom we are starting on IPT are completing 6 months of IPT. And we all know that if they don't complete that 6 months, the large number of resource, time, money we are investing in IPT may not give us the results which we are hoping for. So completing 6 months is equally crucial. You can take a look across your ART centers. Now here, I am going to show you the scorecards. I had a discussion with Dr. Ravi in the morning that, Madam, this scorecard doesn't represent. So what I want you to understand is just a visual I'm trying to show, which each ART center can look at for themselves. They need not compare with anybody else because the context and the circumstances are different in the different geographies of our country, even within the state. So here we took a look at, as we moved along the quarters of the last financial year, how many of the ART centers were in the green zone, in the yellow zones, and in the red zones. So I'm very happy to share that, in the last quarter, there were only 2 who it could be anything, any reason. It could be a reporting issue, it could be an IMS updation issue, but there were only 2 in the red zone, and I'm sure they will take a look at it and they will improve they must have improved in the first quarter of this financial year. Here, I want you to show visuals. I don't want you to look at the names of the ART center, but you see the picture in Karnataka, of every quarter when we look, you see where are the more reds. They are pulling down our performance. And it's not just our performance. It is also the service I'm giving to the PLHIV. See, the epidemic has moved on. The PLHIV have to go to work. They can't keep taking leave. Of course, there are some who need more frequent contact with the health system. They need to be counseled. They need to be, consulted and medically, checked. And that's fine. The guidelines are allowing for that, but the guidelines are allowing for multi-month dispensation. And this is just a visual. I want you to, as a whole picture, when I share the presentations, each ART center can, analyze which indicator and where. More than 95% adherence are more reds there. ART initiation, there are larger reds. So what you seem to be doing very, very well in the first quarter is co-infected patients, TB co-infected patients started on ART. And it's a really, really commendable indicator for Karnataka. This is how the picture looked in the quarter 2. And again, now we are seeing the issue started becoming more of 95% adherence. Less of ART initiation, but also about 12-month retention. The reds have started appearing in the IMS NPR mismatch. And I know Dr. Ravi has already pointed out, that many of your data managers have told you this. What I want everybody who feels that, there is a mismatch and we have concerns, we are doing better than what you are showing, please write to Dr. Ravi. I want everything compiled and shared with NACO so we can address those issues. This is how your quarter 3 looked. You see in the quarter 3, there are again more reds in the IMS NPR mix for ZLN. See, the issue is you've started doing very well on all the other indicators. MMD stays a constant issue, but here again, we start having reds. And in the quarter 4, like we saw, only 2, if you see the overall score, you've done well, only 2 were in the red zone. But my concern is that the yellow ART centers who are performing in the yellow can just by doing 1 or 2 things better can move into the green zone. And the green zone is a motivational thing for all of us. On the ground, people will get better services, but your staff will be motivated when you see that your ART is in the green zone. And I have tried to sum up after reviewing all whole quarter across Karnataka. These are some of the issues I would like to highlight. These are common issues for all ART centers. And while I'm speaking, I have discussed these. And one thing I would like you to focus on now that we move towards 95 after 21, in the 21, so is improving ICTC to ART linkage. We need to start looking at a person is diagnosed positive, where is he going if he's not getting registered? So let me tell you that, once NACO is developing SOCH, which will be a case-based online data entry, and this will become very easy for us to understand that person who was diagnosed, where has he gone, whether he's gone to the private sector, whether he's gone to other ART. So once we get that, but here you can analyzing just quickly the context and some qualitative information for your individual ART centers. Second thing I would like all of you to do is analyze the cause of deaths. Even if you do it broadly, even if you take a big picture view of your ART center, why are these people dying? Can we do something to reduce these deaths? Is what I would want to highlight, because proportionately higher deaths are happening in Karnataka. There could be very, very valid reasons, advanced disease or whatever reasons, but I want each ART center to take a qualitative look at this indicator. Immediate concerns I would like to share when suddenly on 24th of March, everything was shut down, and I am regularly in touch with Dr. Ravi, and he can vouch for that, about what's happening across districts and across ART centers. We gave your SACs the freedom to do what is needed by the ART center and the pale HIVs. And I'm glad, and we really appreciate all the teamwork which was shown in Karnataka. There were not many problems faced by PLHIV, although the staff, I understand, faced a lot of challenges. So what are the immediate concerns is, how do we follow up on all the MMD? At that time, we gave a guidance that give MMD to all. Stable, of course, you gave an unstable also. But now is the time to start looking at the health status of these patients, the adherence level in these patients. We also want to highlight what are the measures taken at the ART centers to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And very, very important is we need to restart. But when I say restart, I always tell everybody that have your plan on paper first, take a look at it, get it validated by your seniors, see that yes, what we are writing on paper is feasible, and then start, because just to start blindly is not fair to the patients and to anybody else also. So there are people who are due for their viral loads. I want each ART center to first make a due list and then discuss feasibility with Dr. Ravi and all your Karnataka SACs, CST, nodal persons. There is a Metropolis team on the ground. We have shared guidance that you can even do at your public health. Those public health labs who are doing COVID throughout, we are requesting them to give 1 day at least for HIV viral load testing. And all these have been shared, minutes, and have been shared with your SACs, the PED project directors and the CST nodal persons. Another thing, when patients are not able to come to the ART center, then 4S screening is another thing which take a hit. And now we want to start putting it again back into focus. And of course, adherence will always remain a matter of concern. Urgent measures, please update your IMS. We have modified with patient portability and a lot of other requests coming from all the states. We've tried to modify to accommodate your patients taking ARVs in other states and other districts. Screening of OIs need to start immediately. And one thing we have, at the request from Karnataka and from the ministry, they wanted, which of our PLHIV are showing symptoms of influenza-like illness and how many have history of contact. We have included these in the IMS. Kindly take a look, do some screening. And in the next slide, I will show you how triaging has to be done. And also, please coordinate with your public health and Metropolis lab. Metropolis has been asked to continue doing for those ART who are currently not being linked to the public health labs in all the states across India. So this is again a common message for all of you. Urgent measures, please take note. Physical distancing, because what I understand that people did continue to come to the ART centers in Karnataka, which was an excellent exemplary facilitation by Project Director Karnataka SACS and now your team in SACS. And but you need to take measures to ensure physical distancing and adequate PPE for all our healthcare personnel. And let me reiterate, the safety and security of our healthcare personnel is equally important to us as that of female HIVs and all the other patients. I am strongly reiterating this fact. All of us need to have a triage system outside the ART centers. Some of your hospitals may have, but we are again requesting, if hospitals do not have a triage table outside the ART center, there'll be a one person managing the triage. You have to segregate. If somebody has ILI or history of contact, we segregate them. We make sure they meet with minimal staff in the ART center, or one dedicated healthcare provider, who will take maximal precautions while seeing these patients. We have to make sure that they get their ARVs. We also have to support these female HIV in getting screening done. Our job gets over not even there. We do phone counseling, we do moral support, we do psychosocial support if anybody is diagnosed positive for SARS-CoV or develops COVID-19. So these are again very common messages we are trying to give across to all the country, all over the country. This is where I end this presentation. What I want to quickly show you, which I'm going to later on share with all Ravi, is the data source. And I want feedback on this from all the ART center data managers, medical officers, counselors, anybody. I want feedback on these sources of data and how you feel that you're not being represented correctly in the scorecard. This is, I've shown 5 slides, but I'm not showing it in detail. I will share with all of the ART center. And okay. So Dr. Ravi, if you have some quick comments, otherwise we will move on to the next topics.
We'll take up this one, ma'am. Issues by the ART centers. If anyone wants to talk about the scorecard, because MMD, TLA and ZLN and IMS mismatch, I think the field should tell. Yaradu matatira?
Okay.
Ramnagar.
At the most, pardon?
Ma'am, ma'am, minimize your screen, ma'am.
Okay, you want me to stop sharing, you mean?
Yeah, stop sharing so that we can start it again. Ramnagar, unmute ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾತಾಡಪ್ಪ. Ramnagar, Tiptur, raise your hand. Unmute.
ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಬಂದಿರೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಮಾತಾಡೋರು ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಡಮ್ಮ. ಸರಿ ಆಯ್ತು ಬಿಡಿ. ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರು ಯಾರ ಇದಾರ?
ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಸರ್?
ರಾಮನಗರ.
ಹಾವೇರಿ ಸರ್.
ರಾಮನಗರ ಹಾವೇರಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾತಾಡುತ್ತೆ?
ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಸರ್?
ಹಾ
ಸರ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅದು ಮಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಲಿಂಕ್ ಆರ್ಟಿ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್.
ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್.
ಸರಿ.
If you're not comfortable, I will talk.
In translate, let them speak in Kannada. You can. Yes, sir.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅದೇನ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ZLN ಮತ್ತೆ T ಅಲ್ಲಿ, MPR ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ LAC ಮತ್ತೆ ART ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಮೇಡಮ್? ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಬಸವರಾಜ್, please tell me whether you are talking about MMD or IMS mismatch.
IMS mismatch sir.
Okay, continue.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ MPR ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದನ್ನ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಇದನ್ನ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ನಾವು ART ನಲ್ಲಿ ART ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಡಿಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಲಿಂಕ್ ART ಇದು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಮಂತ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ART ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ IMS ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. MPR ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ART ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಅದು ಎರಡು ಮಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
Okay, I think I understood that. Thank you very much. Yeah, what I understand is that the link ART center patients are not entered in IMS patient wise, but
yes, madam.
Right? We will look into it, sir. It's a very important issue. We will look into it. Thank you.
ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರು?
ಮೇಡಮ್
ಯಾರಪ್ಪ? ಹಾವೇರಿ Haveri,
Yes, sir.
Haveri.
Good afternoon, madam.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Madam, actually, same thing I will say that, madam, because of link IT center not enter in IMS, madam. This why IMS and MPR mismatch, madam.
I want to ask, if we give IMS login IDs to your Link-ART centers, will they be able to do it?
Madam, already sent ID.
Haveri. Sudhakar, one nimsha. Ma'am, what has happened is there is a complaint from the ICTC that the ICTC work is more, and they're not able to do this IMS dispensation also on real-time basis. So they will do it, but on a particular day or whatever day they are free of. So that will also count for the patient adherence and the this one also, LFU also, madam.
Dr. Ravi, if they can do on a particular day, we have no issue as long as they do it before the last day of the month. If they
Ma'am,
can do patient-wise IMS entries,
Yeah, ma'am.
this is a feasibility we would like to discuss at NACO also. Because in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, they had done it as an experiment, but ITech has done it in Mumbai when I was associated. So we will take a look at it. Next issue, please.
ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಯಾರ? ಮನು, ಸಿ ವಿ ರಾಮನ್. ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮನೋಹರ್, ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
MMD ಒಂದು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಸರ್?
ಹಾ, ಮಾತಾಡು. ಮನೋಹರ್, ಸಿ ವಿ ರಾಮನ್.
ಸರ್ MMD ಬಂದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಸಮ್ಮರ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಸರ್ ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ IMS ಅಲ್ಲೇ.
Can you please translate, Dr. Ravi, regarding MMD?
Ma'am, 1 second. He is not telling it proper. I am not able to hear it. Mano,
Can anybody please translate?
I'll correct ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ.
MMD ಬಂದು ಸರ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಒಂದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಸಮ್ಮರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
ಓಕೆ,
ಒಂದೊಂದು ಡೇಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಮಾತ್ರೆ 60 ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು 90 ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅದು MMD ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ತರ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ. ಅವಾಗ MMD ಮಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಬಂದು ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡು ಮನೋ. ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ವಾಟ್ he is telling is in the scorecard MMD in the IMS, it is showing, it is taking by date. I think the drugs are being taken by the date of dispensation, like next appointment date, not on the number of tablets dispensed. This is what they are telling. Correct, Manu?
How would they want it differently? Because dispensation is telling me that okay. So you are saying date of dispensation, maybe we should take the number of tablets dispensed.
Yeah.
Okay. So going forward in SOCH, I think we will be doing the number of tablets. Already we have made this change. In SOCH, we have incorporated, but I will still confirm it and I will let you know. Okay?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah,
And
next. Anybody else regarding MMD discrepancies?
Anybody else? ಯಾರು ಮೈಕ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಯಾರು? ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಮೈಕ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನೀವೇನ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ? ಯಾರು? ಮತ್ ಮೈಕ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡು. ಮಾತಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೈಕ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? Okay, we'll continue, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I want to now, from my side, I want to understand if any ARTC has analyzed why our PLHIV are dying on ART PLHIV. A quick 1 or 2 feedback from the field I want to hear. The reasons for death. Did anybody ever look at it? We have 5.7% of this year's people PLHIV initiated died. We are reporting, these are just reported deaths. You know, we do not know how many of our LFA also may be dead. So I want to understand from 1 or 2 ART, they've looked at the reasons for death.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಏನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಯಾರಾದರೂ ART ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆತ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಜನ ಸಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಗಳು ನಾವು ಮಾತ್ರೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ಸಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? Anybody has done it? Dr. Kruti, Davangere.
Some of the ART plus centers, or if somebody is present, they may be able to tell.
Dr. Kruti.
It is just, I'm not asking a very formal question. I'm just trying to understand what could be the possible reasons and can we do something. I'm just trying to understand from ground level perspective. Okay, fine.
Gokak. Davangere matadi madam.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Most of the times, madam, when the patient become lost to follow-up, so when they come back, they are majority of the times they are co-infected. So what are the reasons?
Madam, a little loudly, please. Yeah.
Many times, madam, when the lost to follow-up cases comes back, they will be co-infected with TB. So the co-infection and severe immunosuppression is the major reason here for the cause of death.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Anybody else wants to share another something else? We already thought this could be one of the reasons, and severe immune depression. Okay, fine. This may be a common issue across Karnataka, and then maybe once you all get an opportunity, please do it and share with us, and Dr. Ravi will share with me. And thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing. Dr. Ravi, should I move ahead with the ZLN part of it? If anybody doesn't have any major concerns of what we have reviewed so far, then I would like to move on to the second presentation on transition to ZLN. Dr. Ravi, do I have your permission to? Dr. Ravi, should I start the next presentation? Unmute yourself, Dr. Ravi. I can't hear you.
Gokak.
Yes, sir. Should I start?
Yeah, ma'am. You start, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, then I will just quickly take you through that also. Can everybody see my screen, please?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. This is also, we've had a NDLS session by Dr. Anwar very recently. Many of the things which he said, I'm not going to repeat. I will take you through the concerns which are a little differently I have put, but what Dr. Anwar said, I'll just skip through the slides which he has already shared. This is a different presentation I made, and we are sharing with all the states. So, like it says, we are on the verge, Karnataka is on the verge of switching patients currently on ZLN regimen to dolutegravir-based regimen. TLD fixed dose combination has just become active. I hear 50 lakh tablets have just become active. 32 lakh more TLD tablets are on their way to becoming active. And nowadays, because of COVID, we are not able to give you a date, but it is under process. But some amount of TLD has become active. Karnataka SACS will take a call and let you know, but I'm sharing a few concerns. So I will quickly take you through the rationale. Why are we transitioning to this new regimen? How NACO is doing it phase-wise? What are the preparations needed before we transition a patient to the to TLD. And what are the viral load testing general guidance and COVID-related guidance of viral load testing? And what are the counseling issues which, when we shift a patient to a newer regimen, especially DTG-based regimen, what are some of the counseling issues? And a few technical issues especially for the medical officers, staff nurses, and it is for information of other staff. So, so here, I tried to take a look at all the evidence compiled by WHO on all the studies which were undertaken when initially globally DTG-based regimens were introduced. And we understand that the current optimization profiles of all the new drugs you can see here. And what are the criteria which WHO has looked at, efficacy and safety of the drugs, especially virological potency, lower toxicity, high genetic barrier to resistance. Another thing, criteria was simplification, lower pill burden, pill size, generic FDC availability. And very, very important from India's perspective, because we have huge numbers of PL-HIV, is harmonization, which is you can use it in a large number of subgroups, which are highlighted here, which during the presentation I'll take you through. The other thing was cost, very, very important factor. With the test and treat policy, we want each and every person who is diagnosed HIV positive to be put on ART. And government is giving this free of cost. So the cost also, you see DTG has most greens here. Only 2 yellows we are seeing is, in women and childbearing age and use in children. Most of the places, what WHO compiled is that yes, DTG fulfilled the optimization criteria. Under the NACP, we are transitioning to DTG-based regimen, and HIV positive adults, adolescents, and even children. Currently, we are saying who are weighing more than 20 kgs and age is more than 6 years can be shifted to DTG-based regimens. We are also saying it will be the preferred regimen in the national program, and an OM regarding this will be shortly shared. We have not shared that OM so far. We have done phase 1 and 2, and we will be shortly sharing. But important thing to understand is the selection of appropriate DTG-based regimen would depend on the viral load suppression status of the PL-HIV, and we are doing it in a phased manner. Transition plans are also based on drug stock availability. As we know, the COVID scenario made the whole thing, procurement, supply, a little challenging, even for the companies, who were manufacturing, supplying these. So drug stock availabilities will be a crucial factor when we are making a transition plan for state level. And we will be issuing OMs from time to time. This, I think everybody has seen it in some point of when they started working in the field of HIV. Very, very important diagram for us to understand which drug works at which phase in the life cycle of the HIV virus, And only thing I want to mention is that dolutegravir is an integrase inhibitor. It prevents the integration of the HIV DNA into the host DNA. It's an integrase inhibitor. And previously we had one drug, which was dolutegravir, which has now been phased out of the program. This table also, I am sure many of you are familiar with. Just the star ones are available in the national program in India, and others are globally available in some form or the other. And we see here that DTG is an integrase inhibitor, which we are introducing. Now the question comes is why dolutegravir? And it has a lot of advantages. It gives you very rapid viral suppression. It has fewer toxicities and side effects. It is a more potent regimen. It has minimal drug-drug interactions, and like we shared, high genetic barrier. It is also effective against HIV infected with the HIV-2 virus. And there is harmonized, it can be harmonized across patient populations. Again, this diagram was shown during the NDLS. What it simply is telling you that all the comparison now is with efavirenz, because we are shifting from TLE to TLD. So how dolutegravir is more better drug than efavirenz. What it is trying to show is when I start giving to us my patients, the proportion of patients will having viral load suppression. The time duration is shorter, and the proportion of patient is 88% patients will have viral load suppression with TLD at 46 weeks compared to 81% in with efavirenz based regimens, and similarly for the at 96 weeks also. We know DTG is generally well tolerated. We do not have India specific, but there is a lot of studies which have done tolerability. And there is a study called single study which took 833 ART naive patients. That means patients who had never been exposed to ART, and they saw that DTG based were better tolerated compared to efavirenz based. And we know that many of our patients, when they get very severe side effects, they do not want to continue the medicine. So they saw that the discontinuations at 48 weeks was only 2% in DTG-based regimens compared to the 10% in efavirenz based, and similarly for at 96 weeks. These again, I want to just show you the studies. You can go to the, download the studies and study them in detail if you want to understand how they were done. But they are showing that DTG has a high barrier to resistance, meaning that when patients were put on DTG-based regimen, no drug resistance emerged. And I will want to show you in a better diagram here, which Dr. Anwar had also shown during the LDLS. So what it is trying to show is that on the x-axis, if you see the potency of the drug, and on the y-axis, if you see the barrier to resistance, DTG is here compared to where efavirenz was a very potent drug, but it had a low barrier to resistance. Comparatively, DTG is a better drug. The only area of concern, and which I would say retrospectively now with larger amount of data available, not so much of a concern, but in Botswana, we know in Africa there's a country, and they did a study called SEPAMO study. I think many of our medical officers, even the nurses and staff, other staff will also know about the incidence of neural tube defects. So 4 neural tube defects out of 426 women who were taking DTG. But when the later on more longitudinal data was accumulated, it was seen that this prevalence had declined from 0.94 to 0.03. But having said that, the difference remains statistically significant compared to efavirenz. What it means is, even if women who are HIV negative, they do have some incidence of neural tube defects. People who are on other than DTG-based regimen ART, also pregnant women might have some neural tube defects. And when you see the women on DTG, the evidence which was available, it was statistically significant, but the overall risk remains low. So we all need to remember that. But if a woman is diagnosed, many women, we do not realize when they miss their period in the first or 2 months, and they keep thinking, she'll get it. So if a woman is diagnosed pregnant beyond the first trimester, DTG-based regimens can be safely initiated, because as Dr. Anwar also said, the neural tube formation happens by 4 to 6 weeks. It closes, and when a woman beyond the first trimester, DTG can be safely initiated. They also, WHO also studied the risk. There is a WHO policy brief of 2019, which studied the risks versus the benefits of DTG in women of childbearing potential. Now we say childbearing potential. not 8. So they saw that the benefits were much greater because there is greater maternal viral load suppression, fewer maternal deaths, fewer sexual transmission of HIV during pregnancy, and fewer mother-to-child transmission of HIV. And as all of you know, India is already talking about elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV. And then we see that DTG is a better drug. It has all these benefits. So what were the risks they saw? What were the risks? And they saw that, morbidity resulting from DTG-associated weight gain and neonatal deaths among infants of pregnant women with DTG-associated weight gain. So these were some of the risks they saw, but the risk-benefit model definitely says that the benefits are outweighing the risks. So the key message here in this slide is we do not want to deny our women who are pregnant from this, a better drug regimen. So blanket exclusions that deny women equitable access to this optimal HIV are not warranted or justified as mentioned in the WHO policy brief of 2019. Now we'll see that in April, we shared that, phase 1 transition was happening. We all know that, we had to urgently transition all the patients who were on raltegravir-based regimens to DTG-based, and single tablet DTG had made available to all the states. And most of the states have completed this transition. Raltegravir has been phased out of the program. So what had we shared in this? We had said that, patients who were on raltegravir, sopinavir, ritonavir, if they were virologically suppressed, they get single dose, OD dose of DTG, but if they were not suppressed, the drug regimen also changes and DTG was given in twice daily or BD doses. Similarly, for patients who were on darunavir, ritonavir-based raltegravir-based regimens, if they were suppressed, virally suppressed, and that's a program definition of viral load suppression, and they were giving DTG in single dose, but if they were unsuppressed, since we do not have, beyond darunavir, ritonavir, we decided, to give them DTG, twice BD dose along with ritonavir. So another recommendation in phase 1 was that, when patients who were multiple NRTI exposed, they had virological failure and needed second line initiation. That means first line wanting to shift to second line. For them, the regimen was lopinavir, ritonavir, and DTG OD dose. And also second line failure patients who needed third line and who had never previously been on a DTG-based regimen, it was prescribed that darunavir, ritonavir, and a single dose OD dose of DTG will be given. In the COVID scenario, the guidance was given, that you may use the latest available viral load test. That was in April we had issued this, but now when we are talking about phase 2, a letter had gone from on 28th May. I'm showing this. I'm sure all the ART centers have received this letter signed by DDG sir, CST division, Dr. Naril Goel, and they have already started, training their staff on all the issues which we are going to discuss today. So first thing, before going to actual transition, what are the preparations needed before you transition a patient to from ZLN to TLD based regimen? So here I'm sharing a few broad principles of transition. Every PLHIV shall be tested for viral load before transition to a new regimen. Clients with suppression will be counseled and inform the rationale for transitioning to new. We have to let the patients know the rationale. For women in reproductive age group, it should be an informed choice. We tell them the risks, we tell them the benefits, and then it's an informed choice. But if a woman is coming or pregnancy is diagnosed in the second trimester after first 3 months, we continue the regimen. We also initiate them on DTG based. Very important, we all know that these ARV drugs are very expensive. We are giving them free of cost. So existing stocks have to be utilized properly before transition. And if a patient is not suppressed, programmatic definition of viral suppression doesn't fulfill that, then they have to undergo 3 months of step-up counseling while continuing on the same regimen. So you will need some little stock of ZLN for these patients for another 3 months when they undergo 3 months of step-up counseling. So how do we do viral load testing? So we all know for transitioning to DTG-based regimen, if PLHIV already on ART, viral load should be done before transition. I've shared it. I've also shared most of these points about viral suppression and unsuppression. So when we say that the patient is unsuppressed, the counselor takes them through 3 sessions of step-up counseling, and if adherence is more than 95% for 3 consecutive months, then we ask them to do a second viral load test. So here again, some districts may have lockdown, may have partial unlock, may have other challenges of transport of samples. So we are saying that in the current scenario due to pandemic, viral load testing, decision can be taken on the viral load, but it should be done anytime in the last 6 months. If you have a viral load value available in the last 6 months, which is virally suppressed, that person may be transitioned to a ZLN, TLD based regimen. Here also, again, I am sharing that if a counselor has done 3 step-up sessions and they say that adherence is more than 95% for 3 consecutive months, we will assume the failure of the ZLN regimen. Patient will be referred to SASEP. And now we are also talking about eSASEP facilities based on the current ground realities and the local geographic context. If the SASEP diagnose them as failure on first-line ZLN, they will be initiated on TLD, but this will be as a second-line regimen TLD. So here they will need adequate adherence counseling support and follow up with viral load testing for second-line regimen as per the national guidelines. So in summary, this is a summary of what I have mentioned previously. The only difference is that, when patients are doing well suppressed on ZLN-based regimen, in the future, zidovudine can be used in second line. But if the SASEP has declared that they have failed on a zidovudine and we're starting TLD as a second line regimen, in future, we cannot use zidovudine for these patients. And that is the significant fact we all need to know. So we all know that any patient, when you're shifting to a new regimen, especially in case of PLHIV who have experienced, side effects in the past. So there'll be a few concerns which our counselors will have to address, medical officers, even staff nurses. As a team, we'll need to counsel at every level. When I was thinking that if I was a PLHIV and I was doing well on ZLN, and suddenly then my doctor will tell me that you need to be, transitioned to a better regimen. And what will be my concerns? And these are some of the things I've just given you an example. Each patient may have different concerns. I want you to have an open mind and address the concerns of each individual. And especially in women of childbearing age or potential, we need to understand, and sometimes in case of adolescents, we need to take the history of being sexually active, whether the adolescent girl is sexually active or not. But when we are talking about if these adolescents are on ZLN based, we may want to counsel them. We may want to take that history of last menstrual period or something related to that. Another thing is use of contraceptives. Because if the PLHIV woman does not want any more children, doesn't want to be pregnant, then our counselors will have to tell them what are the options of contraceptives, where these contraceptives are available in the health system, and what is the effectiveness of these have to be covered. Have to think about pregnancy and DTG based regimen. So there could be 2 or 3 scenarios related to pregnancy and DTG, and explaining the rationale for transition. Here, I have a suggestion, but your state can also think in ART. that please do some, skill building of counselors and staff nurses. And you can do some role plays within your team. You can have a difficult patient, an easy patient. DTG based counseling role plays can be done, because in the given scenario, we are only talking to you online. We are not able to do the skill building session. So each ART can do at that level. Again, very, very, I'm highlighting it again, that if a woman is identified to be pregnant after the first trimester, DTG should be initiated or continued for the duration of the pregnancy. If she was already on DTG, she did not realize, and now after the first trimester she's coming to it, is to be continued. Because we must remember that neural tube is closing by 4 to 6 weeks. So it is safer, and by the time most women, will not, the risk is very little. So we need to tell the woman also. Counselors should explain the benefits of DTG, especially about mother to child transmission, and also tell them about the risks. After telling all this, we talk about contraception to those who want it. After telling all this, if a woman takes an informed consent that yes, yes, sir.
Ma'am, this DTG women of childbearing age, please explain once more, very slowly, ma'am.
Okay. Which one?
This is the place where we fail.
Right. So this slide you want, or the previous one also?
Both, ma'am, full.
All three.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So let me talk again, slowly. Hindi would be better. I think Hindi would be better. Or English is okay?
English, ma'am, English.
English, okay. Fine.
Yeah, ma'am.
Let me do this slowly now.
Yeah, ma'am, slowly.
When a patient is doing well on ZLN, and they will come to the counselor and doctor and say, sir, I'm doing very well. I don't want to shave. Sir, I had side effects last time, so will I gain weight? So just for example, these three. But we know how many, each patient will have different worries or different concerns. We need to address all them, okay? We have to tell them that DTG is a better regimen, more potent, you can continue for a longer time, there are less chances of it failing and all that, which all rationale I've talked about. Now, second point is a woman of childbearing age or potential. When I say childbearing age, we all think of married women. Of course, even adolescents, young girls are also getting married and we think of them. But as you know, in this epidemic has come a long way. There may be some girls or adolescents who are sexually active. So we are talking about the women of childbearing potential. To these women, anybody who has started their periods has a potential of becoming pregnant. But in the PLHIV, when they come to us, first thing we do, we explain the risks. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Okay. So when we talk, we have to tell them the risks of DTG-based regimen and the benefits, both. We need to explain to them. Second point is use of contraceptives. Now, you and we all know in the current modern life today, many of the adolescents may be sexually active also. They will open up with the counselors. Sometimes they may not open up with other staff. And counselors should keep the confidentiality of this information. But if we know, and suppose a married lady doesn't want to become she's PLHIV, she already has completed a family, doesn't want to become pregnant anymore, PLHIV, then we need to talk about contraceptives to them. And three important information to be given is what are the options of contraceptives they can use depending on their individual circumstances, where these contraceptives are available in our government health system. Third is how effective are these contraceptive measures, because we know there are some temporary methods, there are some permanent methods, and this 3-point counseling has to be done to women who are of childbearing age or potential and who do not want to become pregnant. We talk about contraceptives to them. If a counselor has an information that a particular adolescent girl is sexually active, the counselor doesn't have to tell the other staff, but they can counsel the girl or adolescent about the where the contraceptives are available, what should be used. That's my second point. My third point, pregnancy and DTG-based regimen. Now there can be 3 different scenarios. I have a PLHIV woman who is already on ART, and today we are only talking about ZLN, but it will apply when the OM comes for all other regimens also. So my pregnant woman today is on ZLN regimen, and she is coming to me at, suppose after completing her 3rd trimester, she was a PLHIV woman, was on ZLN regimen, and it comes and tells me that, madam, I have missed my periods. And then I asked her the LMP and I realized that it was 3 months back. So she can be safely transitioned to DTG based regimen. That is the first scenario I'm sharing. Second scenario, a PLHI woman comes to me and she says that last month I did not get my periods. She is currently on ZLN regimen. Okay. Viral load, value of viral load is programmatic suppression range. That means she's eligible for transition to DLD. Now she's telling me that when I missed my periods last month. So we again ask her the LMP. Okay. So LMP, based on the LMP, you will know that it was 4 to 6 weeks or whatever weeks you will calculate. And if it is beyond 6 weeks, she can be transitioned to DTG. We say 1st trimester. So that means if she is given an informed choice and she says, okay, madam, or sir, I want to continue till my first 3 months, and after that I will change to TLD. She can take an informed decision, and we say, okay, so when you come next time, we counsel her, we tell her everything, and when you come today, you take ZLN. When you finish your 3 months, we will transition you. That's the second scenario. Okay. There is a third scenario. The woman, she comes, she's not pregnant, but then she's worried, when you tell her the risks and benefits, she's not currently pregnant. She's on ZLN, she's virally suppressed, but she's saying, no, if once you give me all this information, I don't want to take a risk. I may be pregnant, I'm not using contraceptives. So for women who want pregnancy, currently not using, and are worried and not convinced, we give them the option of opt-out. They can opt out and continue on the ZLN regimen if they are currently on ZLN. Is that correct? Dr. Ravi, does that make it clearer? Dr. Ravi, can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am. He's gone to PD, ma'am.
Okay, for the PD meeting. But madam, is this clearer? Then I will move on.
Yeah, madam. It is clear.
This is just the first time. You will discuss it within your ART center. You will discuss it at SATS. You can come back to us if you want more. And this presentation also, I'll be sharing with all the ART centers. Very important third, what I have realized and I've written here is, please explain the rationale. They must understand that DTG is a better regimen, more potent. It will prevent the transmission to the child also. But what I'm saying, and I will say it again, we give the women an option of opt-out. Okay, my second slide, which he wanted me to do again is, which I have said, the scenario. All the counselors should know the benefits and risks of DTG in their native language, how they will explain to the patient, not to scare, but to explain to the patients. And also tell them that the benefits, these 4 are very, very important things. Greater maternal viral suppression, fewer maternal deaths. We all know that our PLHIV women are vulnerable, they may be weak, they may be anemic. So this DTG is giving them an advantage here. fewer sexual transmissions. We know, that, there may be some amount of, even during pregnancies, some amount of sexual activity without condom happening, some amount of viral load transmission. So DTG is reducing that. And most important for us, the fewer mother to child transmission. So please, all counselors should be very fluent and conversant in their native language when they talk to the patients. And this is the slide where I would like to share. I have already said, offer them contraception if she doesn't want to be pregnant. But if she has taken an informed decision that yes, I'm knowing everything, I'm okay with continuing, put them on DT, transition them to DPT based regimen. But if a woman does not want to initiate TLD, give them they have an option of opting out. That means we don't put them on TLD. We don't transition right now. Right now I'm saying, because subsequently we'll share another OM with you of what has to be done. Okay. And so far, any questions? We can wait, complete this, and by the time Dr. Ravi may join us.
Yeah, ma'am, I joined. Any questions idea? Yargar any questions idre raise ಮಾಡಿ.
I really want to understand their concerns regarding these 3 slides. Dr. Ravi, I have re-explained them. Let's hear them on this before I take them to the technical issues.
Yargaru doubts idea?
Now I want to hear the counselors, nurses, and medical officer, anybody who has an issue.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to discuss about a case scenario, madam.
Yes.
Actually, madam, we had one patient. She's in the program since 2014. So initially she was started on ZLN, and because of anemia, she was substituted with tenofovir. So by the end of, she's on TLE from the end of 2014. Madam, hello.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So you shifted her to TLE.
Yes, ma'am. Then
so now she is not eligible in this second phase. We will not consider her in the second phase. She will continue on TLE.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Then she was changed over to a second line, madam, in 2018.
Okay. Which regimen?
TL atezolizumab ritonavir, madam.
Okay.
And like after about an year, she started complaining of severe pain in the hip region and inability to squat and climbing up the stairs, and inability to do her regular work duties. And after investigations and all, I found that it may be due to tenofovir-induced osteoporosis.
Okay.
With evidence of X-ray and all. Then I changed over to abacavir. Abacavir, lamivudine, atezolizumab ritonavir. But she still continued to have pain, madam. So her condition worsened even after changing from tenofovir to abacavir. I did all other investigations, including this hormonal testosterone levels, vitamin D. Vitamin D was like around 25 and all, madam. But in spite of other reports were normal, but in spite of that, she continued to have severe. She was almost totally bedridden, madam. What could be the reason, madam, in here?
Okay, thank you for discussing this case. There could be other reasons for osteoporosis, madam. The first thing we think is of course tenofovir, but I think detailed clinical discussion we can do on this case separately, and I will also, we will take an opportunity to discuss this particular case. But I feel that you should discuss, bone marrow density should be done, and other reasons of osteoporosis can be explored, because sometimes we think the obvious and we do not think.
Madam, could it be due to atezolizumab-induced avascular necrosis of the femur, madam?
If that only femur, but you're talking about osteoporosis in general.
Osteoporosis in general, madam. She had osteoporosis in the spine also.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, just to come back to our original topic for today, I want to say that we will tell Dr. Ravi to take this case up internally with all the MOs of all the ART sites.
Okay, madam. In this case, can we shift her to
Come up with that can be investigated and how to
instead of
state.
artisanal, can we shift her to dolutegravir, abacavir, lamivudine, dolutegravir?
Madam, this is an issue for SASEP to discuss.
Okay, okay.
Thank you so much. And SASEP and NASEP should take a call, okay? And they will be your best guides in the individual cases. I always say that, let SASEP and NASEP consider it. Thank you so much. Now, my concern,
ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾತಾಡೋರು ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
I want to,
Counselors.
any concerns about DTG and women of childbearing potential? Otherwise, then I'll move ahead. I have a few more slides.
ಆನಂದ್ ಮಂಗಳೂರು.
Sir,
ಏನ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಪ್ಪ?
sir, good afternoon, sir.
ಹಾ.
Sir, if a patient is already on dolutegravir based regimen and then she becomes pregnant. Hello?
ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರದು? Who is talking?
Gokak, sir, Gokak.
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 Yes, sir. Dr. Ravi, can I reply to her?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, madam. Then you must have already, when you were starting dolutegravir, you must have already counseled her, and she knows the thing. You can just offer more counseling and see what support her.
Madam, and if she wants to opt out, then we can at that time.
See, madam,
If she's already on DTG.
Yes, listen. What I'm saying is, by the time you miss your periods, it's already 4 weeks gone, right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. But still, sometimes we can get in first trimester.
So that means already for at least 4 weeks, she would have already been pregnant and already DTG she's taking.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So,
yes, ma'am.
She has already been counseled when you were shifting her to DTG based regimen. She knows everything. You have told her that, after 4 to 6 weeks, there is no risk. And if you've taken it for the first 2 weeks, you can continue safely. But I will not cast a line in stone because this may be an individual case. Okay? It totally depends on the psychological state of the mother and how you counsel. And, it is an individual thing. I will not make a general case out of it. Okay?
Okay, madam. But if someone wants to opt out, then...
Madam, we give the women a chance to opt out because nowadays every pregnancy is a precious pregnancy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We do not force people and we give chance of opting out. It depends on an individual situation again. But the loud message is women, after knowing everything, have the option of opting out. But then you must also understand that DTG is also prevent the mother to child, it is transmission. So that's why I always say that, if depending on the psychological condition, if she's not convinced, she does not appreciate, doesn't want, then
ಮರುದಿ ಇದೆಯಪ್ಪ ಮಾತಾಡು.
Hello, madam.
Yes, sir.
Madam, that if the patient is on TLD, the pregnant mother, if she is breastfeeding her baby, whether the dolutegravir is secreted in the breast milk?
Yes, sir. It is dolutegravir is suppressing the viral load to a larger extent.
Yes.
So the chances of transmission are automatically lesser, but we still follow the EID guidelines. And we all still do all the prophylaxis and everything we continue.
Yes, madam.
As of now. Okay?
Because we are giving the prophylaxis for the infants like the child. It may be NNRTIs or PIs. For infants.
Yes, sir. So that is why I said, as of now, our pediatric TRG, we are going to meet very soon, the pediatric TRG, and we will take up all these issues. As of now, please follow the national guidelines. That's all I can say at this point of time. Okay, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Unless you receive an OM, When the pediatric TRG approves, we will be sharing the new OMs and new guidance with you. As of now, you follow the technical guidelines or a OM signed by DDG CST. Okay, sir? This is for the safeguarding of the concerns of all the healthcare personnel also. Individual variations should individual case variations. Should you please take opinion of your experts, COEs and SASA. Okay. And any more questions, Dr. Ravi?
No, ma'am. I think the counselor should speak. Yaar counselors ಏನಾರು ಇದೆಯಾ counseling ಬಗ್ಗೆ? Because
listen to me. May I make a suggestion, please?
Yeah, ma'am.
But let me finish this. I want all the one person in the take a lead in each LRT center to write down the questions and have demo role plays here now.
Okay.
Regarding counseling women, especially counseling women in potential. So they should, these two things I'm requesting all ART centers, please document your questions, take from all your staff. They may hesitate to speak now, but send them to Dr. Ravi. He'll compile it and he'll send me the Karnataka questions. I have received from Kerala. I have received from, I'm going to take from Madhya Pradesh also. So we want to understand, the concerns of the counselors, the staff nurses, the medical officers regarding this transition. So we will be putting up some FAQ and we will share with all the ART centers. Thank you, sir. May I continue?
Madam.
Yes, sir.
Madam, TLD ನಾವು ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲಿಂಗ್ ದಾಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಪ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿದನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಓನ್ಲಿ TLD ಇಂದ?
Dr. Ravi?
Yeah, ma'am. What is asking is, if we women on TLD, if they want to opt out, should they go out of the program or only out of TLD, or they can?
No. I'm going to tell you that a woman what she can do. I'm telling you in the next slide.
Yeah, ma'am. Next slide ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಇರಪ್ಪ.
I'm telling you that if a woman is already on TLD, and then or she doesn't want, then we put her on TLE. That's a backup.
Okay,
we keep a little stock of TLE also as a backup. My subsequent slides are going to cover that, sir. Okay, sir?
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, madam.
I will just take you through so that question gets answered. First thing I want to say, which I didn't cover there, is two key things which DTG has is insomnia, difficulty in going to sleep, inability to go to sleep. Insomnia is a very, very prominent, or more insomnia than equivalence. And secondly is the DTG associated weight gain, which even WHO is recommending the importance of a healthy diet and regular exercise, which is not only for PLHID, it is this recommendation is for everybody in today's current scenario. But when we are counseling the patient, we have to tell them that they may get a little difficulty in going to sleep, and there may be slight weight gain. And a few drug interactions, which are very, very important. I am not very sure whether Karnataka is endemic for malaria or not, but if amodiaquine is being used as an antimalarial, you will have to use an alternative antimalarial. So the message in this slide is that somebody, either the nurse or the doctor, will have to take a look at the prescription of all the tablets which the patient is taking other than the ARVs. This patient will not know the name. They may say, I'm being treated for fever, or I'm taking some antacid, I'm taking some. So it is very important to check the prescription and document it somewhere that patient is on this medicine and what are the issues with this, could be possible issues, also part of counseling. Like anticonvulsant like carbamazepine or phenytoin, phenobarbital, or antiarrhythmic. Many patients may be older patients, may be on these antiarrhythmic agents like defibrillide. And important another thing is metformin. This is an anti-diabetic drug. If the patient is on a DTG-based regimen, their daily dose cannot be more than 1,000 milligrams of metformin, given in divided doses. And this has to be written somewhere, explained to the patient. Sometimes, caregiver or family member may talk to the other physician who's giving the anti-diabetic drug. Because normally physicians can give up to 2000 milligram of metformin, but if we put the patient on DTG, they cannot have more than 1000 milligram per day daily dose, and they will have to add an additional anti-hypoglycemic agent, which their doctor will have to start. Very important. Another thing is patients on antacids, multivitamin supplements. If we have to take history, like, aluminum, calcium, iron, magnesium, zinc, certain, they have some interaction. So they can take it 2 hours before the TLD or 6 hours after DTG-based regimen. And we all know that when a patient is on anti-TB treatment with rifampicin-based regimen, then DTG has to be used twice daily. That means they will take 1 TLD fixed dose and 1 single tablet of DTG 12 hours later. Upcoming guidelines, we will be sharing an OM. We have not shared so far. That TLD will be preferred line ART, first line ART for all pill HIVs, more than 10 years and weight more than 30 kgs. Tenofovir, okay. It is an FDC once daily dose at bedtime or any fixed time as per patient's convenience. This is also an important thing to note. It will be used for HIV 1, 2 and co-infected patients. Women who have been exposed to a single dose nevirapine in the past can also use TLD, and PLHIV co-infected with TB or hepatitis B and C. Again, this thing, women of childbearing age or potential should be provided informed choice about risks and benefits. We will be shortly sharing the OM regarding this. Some special situations which Madam had highlighted, patient on rifampicin, like I said, they will take one FDC of TLD fixed dose and then another single tablet of DTG 50 milligram. While they are on the anti-TB treatment, say 6 months or duration when rifampicin is going, and later on they will go back to just the TLD fixed dose. The second tablet will be taken off once rifampicin is no longer. We are already covering these things in the blended clinical training of medical officers and staff nurses and lab for staff nurses and medical officers. All these are covered there in the blended clinical training. Female in reproductive age group. Here is the question he was asking. She wants to opt out of TLD, then TLE is a backup for these women. So I want this to, again, we leave the final decision to the medical officers and the senior medical officers of the ART centers. While NACO gives guidelines, there may be individual variations. We request you to be within the guidelines, but if you feel a patient needs anything different, please reach out to your staff.
Your voice is not coming.
You cannot hear me?
Till now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, it is audible.
So what I'm saying is, here is the guidance here. We'll be sharing in the OM separately, but again, if efavirenz is contraindicated, then suppose the lady, you say that, you're giving ETLE, but in some women in reproductive age group, efavirenz may be contraindicated, then there is an option of giving TL plus LPVR. TL will be given, you need all these variations, you will need a little bit, we will be supplying, or state will be, that call can be taken, but fixed dose of TL, combination 1 and LPVR, we know twice, 2 tablets PD. Again, suppose in ART naive adults and adolescents, what are the alternatives? Like we say, now we take a situation where the adolescent or the child is more than 10 years, but the body weight is less than 30 kgs. We all know that less than 30 kgs, we will avoid tenofovir and we'll give the child or adolescent abacavir tablets, not the TLD combination. Here we give abacavir and lamivudine along with DTG single tablets, 50 milligram once daily. And here also special, this is only for the medical officer, the SMOs, that we also need to take at serum creatinine values. If it's above the upper limit of normal, then we do give a Abacavir, but we have to titrate or iterate the dose of lamivudine as per the creatinine clearance, and then we can give DTG 50 milligram once daily. Again, now we very interestingly, if somebody is on zidovudine containing, we are giving second line, like I previously said. If they are failure of the zidovudine or NNRTA containing, we are giving second line TLD. But if a patient fails on TLD, then we give ZLPS. So all these can be used as just references. These tables can be used as just references by the medical officers. It also shows you, when the hemoglobin is less than 9 grams, then what is the option? So, and if the hemoglobin is more than 9 grams, we all know that zidovudine can be used. These are all the permutation combinations of what are the second lines, which if a first line failure contains these drugs, Here, I have already said, if after the rifampicin containing anti-TB treatment is over, then they go back to the OD dose of DTG based regimen or the fixed TLD. Hepatitis B and patient with hepatitis B, we all know that our national guidelines say that tenofovir lamivudine has to be given to these patients. So if the regimen doesn't contain, like dolutegravir plus lopinavir, and if patient also has hepatitis B, you have to give TL additional. So all these are for the medical officers and senior medical officers. Regarding third line regimens, like I've already said, these will be recommended by the SASIP and the NASIP of your state level. After SASIP will review and recommend the third line. What we have to remember is that, dolutegravir is given twice daily with the rider is that DTG, if the patient was previously in the first line, second line, there was no DTG in the patient's regimen, then it will be given in OD doses. But if they have used DTG in the first or second line, then we give a BD dose. This is for the data manager. Please use the latest NPR on the NECO website, that is version 4, 1st April version. And here are on the sheet 5, you will be doing the tenofovir lamivudine and dolutegravir. And DTG single tablet reporting option is also here. This is ART5. I've just taken a picture of your MPR. So I acknowledge the technical expertise of CST division, NACO, WHO partners, and ITEC for all the facilitation and technical support. Thank you. Dr. Ravi, over to you now, sir.
ಯಾರಿಗಾರ ಏನು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ವಿಷಯ. DTG ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. We are waiting for the stocks. We have got very less stocks, so we'll be going with ಯಾರು ಐ ಲೋಡ್ ಇದೆ, more than 1 lakh ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಇವಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಇರೋ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಗೆ ವಿಕ್ಟೋರಿಯಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೌರಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು. ಎರಡನೇದು, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಡಯಾಬಿಟಿಕ್ ಮೆಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮಿನ್, ಕೆಲವರು ಮೆಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮಿನ್ ನ 3 ಸಲ ಮಾತ್ರ TAD ನುಂಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, 1 ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಕಾಶಿಯಸ್. ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ನಾವು ART ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾಗ ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲುಕಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದಿ ಡಯಾಬಿಟಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಎಸ್, we are looking into diabetic. Yes, you are a diabetic. We are marking it and putting off TLE. We are not looking into the drugs properly, and we are not monitoring the change in the anti-diabetic drugs. So please, at least the higher centers where the ZLN, because ZLN is the first drug which is going to phase out another 2 months. So wherever ZLN consumption is more, we will be receiving TLD. As of now. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಯಾರೋ ಮೈಕ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಯಾರು? ಓಕೆ. TLD ನಾವು ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಮೆಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮಿನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ನುಂಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾನಿಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಮೆಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮಿನ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇವಾಗ ಸಿತಾಗ್ಲಿಪ್ಟಿನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದಾವೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ನೀವು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೇಕ್ ದಿ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ diabetologist to change it to some other drug, because you're going to give dolutegravir. Dolutegravir is a very wonderful drug for HIV, but there are side effects from metformin also. In the long run, you may get lactic acidosis due to metformin. So that also should be in our mind. So please monitor metformin. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಿಲೋ 20 ಇದು ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬೇರಿಂಗ್ ಏಜ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬಂದಾಗ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಬಂದಾಗ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಭಾರಿ ಈಸಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ TLE ಇದೆ, ZLA ಇದೆ, ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು ಇವಾಗ TLD ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಯಾವತ್ತೋ ಒಂದ್ ದಿವಸ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಅವರಿಗೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ TLE ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಫ್ಎಬ್ರಿನ್ದಲ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ನ್ಯೂರಲ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಡಿಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ಜನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ 4% ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್, ವಿ ಮೇ ನಾಟ್ ವರಿ.
Dr. Ravi, I want to add one thing. That, many of these endocrinologists or medical specialists are using metformin as a backbone. So what in Dr. Guha's seminar, we have learned that they add another sulfonylurea. They keep suppose patient is on TLD, they would like to limit metformin to 1000 milligram per day, and they can add another sulfonylurea. But yeah, you are right. This should medical specialist or the physician. Sometimes, the family member should be counseled along with the patient. If patient doesn't understand really, then one family member will have to be counseled. That we are not saying just completely remove metformin, but we are saying they limit the dose and they can go and talk to their physician who's treating them. Thank you very much. Yeah, over to you, Dr. Ravi.
ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಮಾತ್ರೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಮಾನಿಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಬಾರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Sir, if the patient is on carbamazepine or phenobarbital, is it totally contraindicated, or we have to be very careful while giving TLD along with these drugs?
Ma'am, ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಕೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್.
Hello, madam. So if the patient is on anti-epileptic drugs like phenobarbital, phenytoin, is it totally completely contraindicated, or do we have to be very careful and we have to be monitoring carefully the patient while on these drugs?
Sorry, madam, it is not contraindicated. This needs to be, the dose adjustment may be done. I will just, I can take you through that. The anti-epileptic or there will have to be anticonvulsants will have to be changed in case, but TLD is not contraindicated in these medicines. But I think the decision needs to be taken together with the treating physician for anti-epilepsy and the ARTMO. See, in our program, madam, we are shifting to TLD. The major thing is that TLD, we will, if a patient is eligible, we will give TLD. We might adjust the anticonvulsant dosage, or we may change the drug which is being used for as an anticonvulsant. There will be very few proportion of patients, but we all want you to be careful and understand, look at the prescriptions and what specific drugs. Whatever I've mentioned are the only drugs. And TLD is a very safe drug, doesn't have too many drug-drug interactions. Whatever little we have mentioned in that one table. But so we at least we need to be vigilant about those drugs which are mentioned.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, madam.
Yes. Yes.
Madam, if a patient on dolutegravir, suppose sometimes he develops any skin rash, though it is very rare. Suppose he develops a rash or which you cannot continue dolutegravir, then what can we should give alternate to that?
Ma'am, I'll answer this, ma'am. Madam, never, you will not get rashes only in Gokak. It will be for everyone. Okay, we have done the studies. None of the studies have shown any rashes. Okay.
Sir, I have not asked that. If
I am telling your story, center's history. I have a very good experience with your center, giving half tablet of TLE.
We have.
Madam, just listen, please.
Okay.
You will
Okay,
not
sir.
have rashes. If at all any patient tell any rashes, please look into the reason for the rashes, the other probable reasons of rashes. Okay, don't ever think every rash with TLD. One thing. The second thing is, yes, there might be 0.01% of rashes, which may suffice with a citizen or something like that. If it does not suffice and the LFT is raised, then you come back to us, we'll talk.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
And
Praveen?
I'm requesting you again, especially your center, don't put half tablet of any drug.
We are not putting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
sir.
Any
Praveen,
other question?
there are a lot of questions. Sorry, sir, Dr. Ravi, I want to request Praveen, there are a lot of questions in the chat box. Can he just copy them into slide and just project, then we can take. Praveen, can you do that?
Sure, ma'am. I'll just try that. Thank you.
Okay, there's a very interesting question from ARTC Chickadee, who says that if a patient is on TLD and if she decides to go for a planned pregnancy, okay, in that case, she should be switched over to which regimen? Until she completes her first trimester, in which way dolutegravir is superior to raltegravir? Okay, so these are a few questions. We can look for evidence and get back to you of comparison between DTG and raltegravir. Definitely DTG is a bestial regimen, but I will want to look at it further and share evidence about in what ways exactly DTG is more superior to raltegravir, if at all. Secondly, in case of a planned pregnancy, you've put a patient on TLD, and we are going to share this guidance also shortly with you when we share the complete thing is, yes, she says, I want to become pregnant and she wants to stop contraceptive. What is the alternative which we can give her is TLD. We have already mentioned, but we will definitely share an OM. But on a case-to-case basis, in consultation with your SASIP, you can do it currently, but once we share you general guidelines, it can be done for all women. Okay? I have already mentioned a lady who opts out can be given TLE. And if averance is contraindicated, then we said that she can be given TLE. Chikodi, does that answer your question? ARTC Chikodi.
Dr. Rahul. Dr. Rahul. Chikodi.
Okay, fine, sir. It's okay.
Dr. Swami. Dr. Swami. Asha Kiran, Dr. Swami.
So there is another very important question.
Ma'am, he has got many questions, ma'am. He's a big private practitioner also. So he's got too many questions on dolutegravir.
No, I'm very happy that people have questions.
Yeah, let him ask, ma'am.
Dr.
Swami, yes, put many things on chat box and not talking.
Okay, that's fine, Dr. Ravi. We may not push people to talk. It's okay. They can document their questions. They can share with you. So this first question I've already answered. And I have said that I will gather evidence of how dolutegravir is superior and I will share with all the articles. And I think somebody wrote that if it could be TDF-induced avascular necrosis, not reversible disease. This is an expert opinion. I would like Dr. Ravi to later on validate if it is correct or not. Next, they are saying 19-year-old girl shifted to DTG and then she got married and pregnant. In this case, what to do? See, I'm telling you, if somebody is already on DTGs, they already have been counseled, they know everything. They can come to you and you can do a psychosocial support to them, and whatever they are comfortable with, that decision can be taken by the lady. But all of us must understand that if pregnancy is diagnosed after 6 weeks or after 3 months, then it is safer to continue. Okay? And then somebody is asking if we take a written consent either to initiate or discontinue. So in the NDLS, which Dr. Anwar had conducted, we said that no separate written consent. We said, it can be just documented somewhere on the white card or the green book, but no written consent is being done.
Reporting changes.
Praveen, can you go back to the first slide, please?
Ma'am, there's one more question from Galaxy M31 Jagdish M. Whoever it is, if patient is not virally suppressed, we start dolutegravir twice a day as second line. If the viral load gets suppressed after 6 months, should we reduce the dose of dolutegravir? This yaradru keliri, but you will not start second line dolutegravir as 2 tablets because that depends on the previous regimen the patient was on. If the patient was on dolutegravir and then not virally suppressed, then we will change it to single drug. If on dolutegravir, we will change it to 2 drugs, to BID, 2 tablets a day. If the patient is not experienced dolutegravir, then it will be single pill only. Dolutegravir is a complete new class of drug. If he has not experienced it, we will change it to only 1 drug.
Let me reiterate what Dr. Ravi is saying. In this second phase, when we are talking of transition from ZLN-based regimen to TLD-based regimen, the only situation in the current phase is when a patient is on rifampicin-based regimen. We give 2. And about virally suppressed or not, we are saying that if the patient is a ZLN, not virally suppressed, we go for TLD as a single tablet TLD as a second line. There is no question in the current phase. We have not talked about giving it twice, about viral suppression or not suppression. In the ZLN transition phase, this phase we are saying if SASAP is saying that first ZLN as first line has failed, they go to TLD. FDC single dose. Please, all these OMs should be put up in the MO's room. These should be ready reckoners, ready referrals. There should be no confusion because we are specifically telling you. What I shared later on was about third line. That SASAP, when SASAP tells you, you have to do it. ARTs don't have to do anything about double dosing as of now, except for anti-TB treatment. Is that good enough, Dr. Ravi?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. I want to go, Praveen, to go to the first slide. There was one question in the end which we wanted to take. Or maybe we will, Praveen, first slide, please. Okay, fine. I think we'll call it a day now. It's 1:45. Everybody must be hungry. And don't want to, it's okay. We've had a good discussion. And I think, Dr. Ravi, we would like to call it a day and then let everybody go. And please give the last comments and thank you. Dr. Ravi. Dr. Ravi, can you hear me?
Ma'am.
Yeah, can you please wrap up the meeting and
yeah.
Tell Praveen.
Any other doubts? Yarga doubts idya?
Any other participant wants to say anything?
Yarga doubts idre unmute maabuttu matadi. Ondu. Ernedu, Dr. Ningaya, can we complete it? If you have any doubts, please ask us. One thing. And anytime, any doubts you have, you please contact us regarding DTG. Okay. Anytime you have a doubt, you please contact us only. We will answer. One thing. The second thing is, I think if you have no doubts, if you have doubts also, you can come back to us later.
Okay, sir.
Ivagera idea?
Illa, sir.
Okay. We'll complete it now.
Yes,
if
sir.
You have no doubts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thank everyone. I thank Dr. Maninder for taking the time out for this meeting. And one more thing I wanted to share is, in the past 3 months, from January also I'm seeing the Alive NART is coming down. Belgaum, Mysore, Victoria and few centers, the Alive NART is coming down. ಅವರು ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ART ತಗೊಂಡಿರಬಹುದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. ತಗೊಂಡಿರೋರ್ದು ನಾವು ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಇಂದನೂ ಶೇರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಚೆಕ್ ಡಾಟಾ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಫೈಲ್ ಕಳ್ಸಿದ ಹಂಗೆ ಇದೆ, ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ART ನಂಬರ್ ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಫಾರ್ಮಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ART ನಂಬರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ART ಸೆಂಟರ್ ನೇಮ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವ ART ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. 1 2 3 4 5 ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇದೆ. ART KABLR 07 ಆ ತರ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆ ಫುಲ್ IMS ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ART ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅಥವಾ ART ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಹೆಸರು ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಹೆಸರಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ನೇ ಕೇಳಿ ಯಾವ ಸೆಂಟರ್ದು ಅಂತ. ವಿಕ್ಟೋರಿಯಾದ, ಬೌರಿಂಗ್ದ, ಸಿವಿರಾಮಂದ, ಸೆಂಟ್ ಜಾನ್ಸ್ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹಂಗ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಆ ತರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಒಂದು ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ನಮಗ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲಾನು ನಾವು ನಿಮಗ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ನೀವು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲೂ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಪೇಷಂಟ್ MLL IMS ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರು ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ IMS ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, IMS ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಿದ್ರೆ IMS ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು MLL ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೇನು, MLL ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ IMS Alive NART ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. 200 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ 200-250 ಜನ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ, LFU ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. That should be looked into clearly. I don't know, but Alive NART ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ತಪ್ಪು. ಅದು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮೇಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗು ಮೇಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅದು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಫೋನ್ ಕಾಲ್ CSC ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. CSC ಇಂದ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸುಮ್ನೆ ನಾಮಕಾವಸ್ಥೆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ CSC. ಇವಾಗಂತೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಸ್ಗಳು ಓಡಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾವೆ, ಲಾಕ್ಡೌನ್ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಓಡಾಡಕ್ ಹೇಳಿ, ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಆಗಿ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಈ ತಿಂಗಳು, ಹೋದ್ ತಿಂಗಳು CSC ಅವ್ರು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕತೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ಹೆಂಗೋ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಲ್ವಾ, ಇವತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗು ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇವತ್ತು CSC ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕರೀರಿ. ಯಾರು ಬರಲ್ಲ ನನ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಕೊಡಿ. CSC ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. CSC ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಾಗ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು CSC ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? CSC ಇಂದ ನೀವು ಈ ತಿಂಗಳು ಹಳೇದೆಲ್ಲ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಮ್ದು Alive NART ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ನನ್ನ ಲೆಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರೆ ಖರ್ಚಾಗ್ತಾರೆ 1,75,000 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾವು ತೋರ್ಸ 1,69,000 ಹೋದ್ ತಿಂಗಳು, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಎಲ್ಲ IMS ಡೇಟಾನೇ ನೀವ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು, ಅವ್ರು ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ನನಗೆ. ಸೊ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ Alive NART ಟು ಕಮ್ ಡೌನ್. ಎಸ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಲೈಕ್ 1 or 2, but not because we have started more than that. ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದು. ಎಲ್ಲೋ we are missing Alive NART numbers, or we are not tracking people properly. We are not tracking the patients properly. So please look into it. This CSC meeting, you call for a meeting today itself, today or tomorrow. If you like, you can call them tomorrow and tell everyone to go to the field now. No excuses, because they have to go to the field. They can wear a mask, they can wear all the protective gear, and then because all the buses have started, literally all the buses have started, you can go anywhere. You ask them to go to the field, or tell them to come and sit in your ART center and call each and every patient. Because Alive NART ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪದು. ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. 2,000 ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. 1,75,000 ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು 1,69,000 ಆಗಿದೆ 3 ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ. 6,000 ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದೆ. ಎವ್ರಿ ಮಂತ್ 2,000 ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಇದನ್ನ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರ್ದು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ 3 ತಿಂಗಳದು ನಾನು ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಮೇಲ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ increased deaths or reported increased deaths. I will send a mail I think we'll end here because everyone has to go for lunch. I thank Dr. Maninder Kaur for attending this, and I thank all the ART centers. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I wait till I'm able to come physically and meet all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Dr. Ravi and the iTech team also, thank you very much.